The grid, man, it's unstable. It's not gonna last. She won't hold. Well, maybe it will. And maybe there's some solutions and maybe there's some time to buy some time. That's what we're gonna talk about. So I've got Quincy here from Electric Era and Sith. These are two of the former SpaceX engineers. They are now working here. They CEO, lead software, VP of software, very sharp folks. We're gonna get into talking about what in the heck is wrong with the grid and how to fix it. I'm Brian, welcome to Future Asa. First of all, can the grid handle EVs?
No, it's not ready for it, but that's why we're here and that's why we're providing a solution.
What's wrong? Why can't the grid handle it?
So EVs kind of fundamentally changed how, what demand looks like for the grid. You know, before when people were trying to refill, the answer was maybe a couple to tens of kilowatts of demand on the grid to supply a gas station. Now when you install an EV charging station, what you're asking for, what charge point operators are asking for is 1, maybe 2 megawatts of total power capacity necessary at a very small location in order to allow electric vehicle refill to happen. And fundamentally, the grid is not prepared to have these starting to dot the landscape in North America or even the entire world.
Well, let me ask you this. What if there were no fast chargers? If everyone charged at home, could the grid handle it?
Yeah, that's another part of the problem. There's the power capacity problem, which Sith commented on, and then there's the total energy throughput problem. And between heat pumps and EVs, and actually not even including AI, we're gonna triple the amount of energy going through the grid, by roughly 2050. Yep. So we need a lot more power plants and we need a lot more wires. And these are two distinct and important separate concepts. We need a lot more wires and transformers and substations, the infrastructure, and we need a lot more electrons going through them.
Wow. So I forgot, AI is a thirsty beast, right?
Oh, it's hungry.
Beyond. At Giga Texas, they have doubled the size of the switchyard. And it's not because they're building more cars. It's because at full capacity, they're hoping to pull 500 megawatts for their AI. Mm-hmm. That is a city a little smaller than, say, Amarillo. That's a lot of juice. So AI, let's make it smarter and faster, and then we can move past that part. But the copper alone, I didn't even think of.
Yeah, most people only think about the electrons, which is just the energy, but the energy has to have a highway. And so that's what the actual grid is. All the wires around you that you see driving around, that's the highway for the electrons to get to your home and ultimately get in your phone or get in your car. And that is extremely challenging to upgrade. The grid's 130 years old approximately. The first DC grid actually was laid down in early New York, roughly at the turn of the 20th century. And over time, we've slowly built it out. Now it's this antiquated old piece of technology that's breaking and falling apart everywhere. And we're saying, okay, let's spend a ton more energy through it. It's expensive. It's getting more and more expensive over time. And as Sith said, we solve that for EV charging. We build our charging stations with a battery at them, which buffers the load, pulling down the capacity requirements by typically 70%. So what does that mean? It means we take 1,000 homes worth of power or 2,000 homes worth of power for a 2 megawatt level station, and we can decrease it for the 1,000 homes worth of power down to 300. So a 70% reduction in grid capacity. Utilities love this, our customers love it. It means we can build charging stations faster. And importantly for drivers, it means we can build charging stations in better locations that are closer to and cooler to things like retail amenities, in a gas station parking lot, for example.
That is a trade-off. I, as the builder, want you to build it right next to the substation where there are no amenities. And you as the consumer want it all the way down where it's convenient next to the Panera or the Starbucks. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but Starbucks doesn't pull a megawatt. So
no, not yet.
And although the one I can see out the window here might.
The HQ.
The headquarters. Yeah. Even still, there's no way they're pulling a megawatt.
To be honest.
No.
A megawatt is insane. It's so much power. Yeah. And it's like a skyscraper.
Oh yeah.
Power.
Yeah, you could charge 1 BYD.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that is a thing.
We should talk.
We can talk about that. Faster chargers are coming, but we're not talking about the speed of the charging. We're talking about the sum of the charging. As these things come online, as I can do time of use charging, as I can do a virtual power plant, as you can not only, maybe you could use your systems as a virtual power plant someday, but at the very least, you're getting the best time of use pricing. You are storing water upstream from where it needs to water the field of EVs, as it were. Is there going to be a day, well, when is the day that we're going to see generation that can just remain at just maximum and it just takes it all downstream?
What do you think? What's your over-under?
I mean, we're kind of, in some cases, we're actually able to do that at some of our stations. So like
your stations, but I mean the wind farms, the solar farms, when can we not have to shut them off in part and just accept all of it?
So,
because we'll need a place to put it.
this is a good question.
So
Thank you.
Your question is basically trying to ask like how.
When we solve the duck curve.
When do you solve the duck curve? Well, first of all, tell us what the duck curve is and.
Yeah, so basically the duck curve is this phenomena that you see on various different grids. In California, they call it the duck curve. In Texas, they call it the cowboy hat, which is funny. Yeah, literally. I know, I found that out the other day and I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. But for the audience, yeah, the duck curve is basically in the middle of the day, there's a ton of solar because there's more and more renewables, but there's not a ton of demand. So you have all this extra generation happening and not enough consumption. And as you're alluding to, eventually we'll need more and more storage, and it's getting built. Tesla's, I think, deployed 10 gigawatt hours last quarter.
Yes.
10 to 12, 10.4, and that's great. And our company is deploying smaller storage at more localized locations. We're in the megawatt hour level, but these are both locations where we can dump that extra generation. And over time, that means that we can lower the duck curve. And there's actually like T-shirts you can get that say like lower the duck curve or solve the cowboy hat. And it's all about building the extra energy storage to dump the electrons into.
That's fantastic to hear. The other thing I've seen, if you look at the roof of Giga Texas, the solar panels do not face south. They face west, east, west. They face west, so they capture afternoon sun. They get less sun in total, but more when they actually need it.
Smart.
Yeah, it's an interesting solution, and it also makes it so that this world's largest billboard can be better seen from the landing approach at Austin Bergstrom. And it is a fairly good sized billboard.
Yeah.
Now you've got your power nodes. I know you want to get 10,000 of them out there by 2030. Last time I was here, you had deployed 10.
Yeah.
Now, and that was 2 months ago, now what are you up to?
Well, so we've built out 18 stations. We're energizing them all probably by the middle to early May. So we'll have basically 18 full stations online. So almost doubling.
Are moving real quick right now.
We're going as fast as we freaking can. We have customers that are like, we want charging stations in 3 months, like get it done. And we're actually going to announce something along those lines for a really big customer, 3-month turnaround times. Like that's the fastest. We can probably go a little faster than that, but our average is like 8 months, which is still fast. Yeah. And the only way we can do that is two things: vertical integration. So we come from SpaceX. We all believe in vertical integration. So we have most of everything here that is required to rapidly deploy in a way that is comprehensive across all the teams. And then two, the battery. We solve the grid problem. We don't have to wait 3 years for the utility to bring in that megawatt of power. We can have them bring in 300 homes worth of power in 3 months, which is way faster. And the only reason we do that is the battery and the software.
So I need a fire hose worth of water. If I need the city to provide me that kind of pressure, that kind of volume, it's going to cost me too much money. But if I'm allowed to just put up a tank and store it, I'm back in business. Right. That's what the old locomotives did. You couldn't possibly move that kind of water into your locomotive in the time it takes to pick up passengers. That's why all day it's pumping. That makes...
Oh yeah, I love that. That's
yeah,
really good. It's a great example.
Then just done. And then we've got, are you worried about the changes in the NEVI program?
Not really, honestly. I mean, we as a company believe that we need to make pure commercial products that delight our customers and their drivers. And we've always architected the business to survive with a pure play commercial product. NEVI was really helpful, but we've always had plans and a product that can survive in a pure commercial market. Actually, like more than 50% of our deals have never had any sort of subsidy associated with it. That's just because we sell to a buyer who wants to buy it for their own commercial benefits and that doesn't need a government subsidy to help. The whiplash around all of it was a lot to deal with internally, but we've navigated our way through it pretty well. Anything to add to that?
No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Tariffs. Tariffs are a little trickier because almost all the commercial LFP in the world is in China. Yeah. There's some in India. Yeah. There's a tiny bit in the US, but what is going on?
As we're filming this, like tariffs just yesterday went up to 125% on China. So we're still digesting that news, but we've fortunately been trying to source local battery alternatives in America to work around that.
Who's making LFP in the US right now?
There's LG Energy, who we're talking with and who are working towards that. And then there's another company called Core Power. They're both standing up production lines, but they haven't done it.
Haven't done it yet. Yeah. That's the trick, is the LG one I've been seeing. Core Power, I will look into. That's concerning. That's a little bit scary. Last thing we're going to talk about, and by the way, on April 21st, I've got an exclusive. It's an exclusive. Yeah. April 21st is a big day. They'll be on other channels too, but
catch you here first.
Catch you here first because
Future audience.
I've got the best coverage, dude. You know what's up.
It's true.
It is true. That's why I was invited in early.
Make sure to subscribe.
Yes.
So you can catch it early.
So you can catch it early. That's helpful. When I get to 100,000, I will stop begging. That is my commitment.
Please shut him up. You got to subscribe today. Shut him
you
up.
must. You must. What's your uptime? Electrify America famously has not the best uptime. It's improved. What's yours?
Sith's the master of
I think I got it to 4 numbers, 98.47 on a per port basis. That's actually also super important.
90, say it again.
98.47.
98.47, not at the station level, at the individual handle level.
The station level is like kind of a way to game the statistic.
Right.
Which is silly.
Right. I've got 7 out of 8 out.
But it's up. Yeah.
It's 100%.
Yeah. So we do it on a per port basis because it's a more accurate accounting. It's also harder to do, by the way, a lot harder to do, but it's what the driver needs. And that's our worldview at Electric Air. It's like, if I'm a driver and I show up to a half down station, then I'm 50% screwed.
It depends.
Each station needs to be up and operational on a per port basis.
I could argue it both ways. If the station is full, then those outs are out for me. If they're half out but no one's there but me.
But of course, today there's more and more drivers and there's less and less charging stations on a relative basis for them. So more and more of these stations are fully occupied.
Yeah.
So you need more and more high uptime ports.
Especially I've seen areas around Denver that get very congested.
Yes.
Of course, Southern California, very congested. We need to work on it. If only there was a company that did that. How do you do it? How do you stay so up?
So it's challenging, but I think when we first started, I really wanted to just approach it the same way we approach what we did at space. Because if you think about like a satellite or a rocket, like once you launch it, you're done. You're done. Right. Yeah. You can't get to it again. You can't just send a truck, once. Right? And so that means that we have to get really, really good at understanding what's going on remotely, and also make it really, really good, make their stations really, really good at diagnosing and solving problems themselves. Mm-hmm. So our stations actually just have brains, like at the charging station. They don't need to be connected to the internet in order to do everything that they need to do, and they can actually diagnose and solve problems that occur themselves without any intervention.
Autonomously.
Mm. That's
very rudimentary intelligence, but important intelligence.
But it's on site.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about brains, of course, that makes me thinking about Pinky in the Brain, which of course makes me think about Professor Pinky Nelson, also known as George Nelson, who was the person who recovered the only satellite ever recovered, the Hubble.
Yeah.
So I can't believe that those neurons connected. It hurts. It hurts.
That is really impressive.
That's not impressive.
That's a deep hole.
It's stuck in there. It's fun. When we went to Air and Space Museum, went to the Columbia Museum, and my kids went to Dick Scobie Elementary. and they're like, you know who Dick Scobie is, Commander Dick Scobie? Because he was one of the astronauts lost on Challenger. What are we doing here? What are we doing? In the comments, let me know what we're doing. Everybody else, like and subscribe. What questions did we miss? What did we misunderstand? Can the grid handle it? And I got to ask, last thing, transformers. Where are we going to get them?
We need a wartime effort in this country to build more transformers. It is daunting and keeps me up all night.
It is a real problem.
Our whole solution essentially solves the transformer scarcity problem. And every day the transformer scarcity problem gets worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
So yes.
Everybody, factories need them, grids need them, AI centers, all the data centers, all the everybody. And then because they're scarce, people are also hoarding them because they're going to need them in 6 months, and that exacerbates the problem.
It's like when there's like an emergency in society and everybody goes and takes all the toilet paper from the Walmart. Or cheese. Like that's happening to a degree.
There's a strategic cheese reserve. And I'm like, why don't we just fill those caves with transformers?
Yeah, we need a strategic transformer reserve. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, and this goes back to...
That would make sense. They're shelf stable.
Yeah.
This goes back to one of the things we talked about earlier. There's a 3xing of energy through the grid. And that all of that energy ultimately needs to be converted from AC to AC at one level to AC at a different level. And that's what transformers do. And the more and more energy that we consume, the more and more transformers we need, and we're not building them fast enough. So please, anybody out there, if you're a nerd like me, you should build transformers.
In the comments, do you build transformers? And what do you want for them? We're buying. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Quincy. Sith, it was a pleasure. And you can follow them. I'll put the website and the socials up, of course, because why wouldn't I do that? And please come back April 21st when we get to unveil their exciting new product. And yes, I mean it. It is actually an exciting new product. It's going to be a lot of fun, so see you there. Everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I can't wait to hear from you clever robots on the flippity flop.